Hello my friends, it is Sarah the itty bitty Celtic witch, and today I wanted to join you for our witchcraft resource video. And this month the Patreon consensus on our vote was tips for building a magical practice as a solitary witch. So if you would like to help choose next month's witchcraft resource topic, just take a look at the Patreon link below, and every month there's a poll that goes up and you can have your say on which topic I dive into next. Alright friends, let's jump into the content and get to the meaty good stuff. So let's start by looking at the first tip. And again, this is available in blog post format. So if you would like to pin the infographic to have a look at it later or have a read through and share, then you can do so by checking out the blog post link. All right, back to the good stuff here. Create space for your practice. So I wanted this to be the first tip that I talked about with building a magical practice as a solitary witch, because when you are a solitary witch, when you're practicing your spirituality on your own without a community structure, it can be more difficult to make time for it. For instance, if we look at covens, which meet on a regular basis, if you look at other aspects or approaches to spirituality, such as Christian teachings with that structure of a weekly mass with big masses to celebrate different spiritual events of the year, that does create a structure. And while structure can be something that might not agree with you and your own practice, I myself like a bit more of a free-flowing approach to my magical and witchcraft practice. It does create and hold space for a regular spiritual opportunity to listen to whatever sort of spirituality you may be connecting with. So when you are outside of that structure, when you're outside of a regular community gathering of spirituality, it can be easier to put your spirituality sort of off to the side because it's just you, right? There's only one person to be accountable to. But if you're also having some issues of self-doubt and having a difficult time perhaps emotionally or with other aspects of your life, or you're just really freaking busy, it can be really easy to let all of the other things in your day, whether it's work, whether it's house cleaning, whether it's appointments, whatever it is you have got going on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly basis that's very consistent and routine, it can be very easy to focus and prioritize on all of that and sort of put your spiritual practice so far down on the list that you never really quite get to it, because by the end of the day you're just sort of done, and you need a different sort of headspace to just breathe and let it out. So it's really important when you are looking at building a magical practice as a solitary witch to send your magic some love. Give yourself a little bit of love and space, and whether that means scheduling it into an appointment book, creating a morning or every other morning or every other evening kind of routine where you're able to set aside a little bit of time, start off in little steps, whether it's 2 minutes at your altar or in your sacred space, 2 minutes of sitting outside on your balcony, in your garden, absorbing that green natural energy. If you can start off by giving yourself 2 minutes of that time, because you know what, you and your spiritual practice, you are worth way more than 2 minutes. But sometimes the only way to really give yourself that space and find the confidence to follow your spiritual path is by starting off with something like 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Then maybe some days it becomes 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and you're able to sit and be and let the intuitive messages flow through you. and open spirit up more and more to your inner magic gradually over time. So really, the first step in building a magical practice and creating a really solid foundation for yourself in your spiritual space is by making time for you, making time for that spiritual essence to be connected with, and sending your magic some love, and realizing that, you know what, even if it's just you practicing it, that's good enough. Like, you are good enough for holding space. You don't need a gathering of people to be the only reason that you practice. So keep in mind that with a solitary practice, it is one of the challenges, is making time for spirituality, and remembering not to let it get, sorry, there's a little fruit fly floating around, to make sure it doesn't get too far down on the list, and that you make time for it still. And then the next tip is building trust in your magic. So when you're a solitary witch, solitary pagan, and you're doing things on your own, you're doing things on your own. And even if you are in a coven or you are practicing with others, it's still a really great space to come from by creating a trust, creating faith, and strength and belief of your own inner magic. So self-doubt is something that all of us are going to face at some point or another. It does flow in and out. It is just sort of being human, having those moments of self-doubt. So learning to strengthen your trust in yourself and in the intuitive messages you receive, because they aren't tangible things most of the time. They're not going to be a sort of tangible thing that says, okay, this is a message from spirit, pay attention, and it's written out and it's looking at you straight on. Maybe sometimes it is, but more often than not, there's not sort of that tangible, concrete evidence right in front of your face. It's more so something that you feel, that you know, that's a message from your spirit guides, and learning to trust in those messages, learning to trust in the value of paying attention to the intuition that is coming up and growing within you. That is a really strong foundation, no matter whether you decide to practice in a coven or you decide to go the solitary witch path. No matter which sort of path you choose, learning to trust in yourself and trust in those inner guides and letting that inner guides actually guide you is a really, really powerful way to create and strengthen your magical practice, whether you're just starting out or whether you are a seasoned witch. It's something that we can all benefit from connecting with on a regular basis and nurturing. So then tip number 3, expand your idea of community. So this might seem a little confusing at first when I'm talking about solitary witchcraft, but the thing is, we are all impacted by each other. We are all part of this great human community. And so by expanding your idea of spiritual community into aspects like social media, it's a really great way to connect with others, to hear other perspectives, to learn from others' experiences and share your own experiences, all the while still having that magical practice where you're doing your own thing. So the one thing to keep in mind with social media is that everybody is going to have a unique perspective, and you're going to find some people that you resonate with really, really strongly, and you're going to find others that you don't. That's just sort of the way humans are. So remember that it's okay if you come across something that is witchy that doesn't resonate with you. That doesn't mean you're not witchy. It just means that you have a different perspective on your spiritual path, and that is totally okay. So some places that you can find witchy peeps on social media, there's Instagram, the good old hashtag witches of Instagram, hashtag pagan, hashtag pagans of Instagram, hashtag tarot community. There's a lot of hashtags out there. Explore those and have a look through the different posts, have a look at others that are creating and putting together these journaling experiences of their spirituality, and you might find someone that resonates with you and that you can continue to sort of share your spiritual journey with throughout the Instagram community. Then there's YouTube, like me here. Hello. Hi, there's a lot of witches on YouTube creating really magical and amazing content. So feel free to post in the comments. If you have a question, oftentimes people will ask questions on my video, and if I don't get to them right away, sometimes someone else in the community has already replied with a really great, insightful answer. So connecting in the comments section is a great way to connect with others on YouTube if you don't feel like creating videos for yourself, or if you do, go for it. Absolutely go for it. And then there's also a lot of online magical communities. So monthly covens are a thing. There's lots of really magical people creating and hosting and guiding and teaching online. So there's lots of different opportunities for you to find a spiritual community that connects with you through one of these monthly offerings. In my case, it is over on my Patreon page. Little shout out here. If you would like to come join me and our friendly magical community, we are on a monthly basis. There's the Magical Journeyers, there's New Moon Dancers with New Moon Tarot readings, the Magical Journeyers being a monthly offering of teachings, of magical and witchcraft teachings that I offer. So that's for me, but there are a lot of other also opportunities out there for you to find something that really resonates with your practice. And then wrapping it all together, books and blogs. I always have to mention books. Like every single video I have to make, I have to mention books because books are amazing. I love books so much. Right now, I am still reading. If you've been following me, you know I've been reading this for a while. It's Celtic Mythology by Philip Freeman, and it's a collection of Irish and Celtic myths. So when you are building a magical practice as a solitary witch, the reason that I do talk about books and blogs so much is because they are a great resource to build your knowledge from. And you don't have to break the bank to do this. I bought this book, but you can maybe find others at the library. When I was starting out, I would come home with like literally stacks like this of witchcraft books. I'm sure the librarian thought I was crazy, but whatever. I was jamming out and enjoying myself, so whatever. You know, you've got to sort of honor your spiritual system. So when you're a solitary witch and you're looking to sort of learn new things and gain new perspectives, as well as expanding that idea of community, you can also look to written resources, look to blog posts. And again, as you're reading through these, the same sort of rule applies, is that listen to yourself and listen to your intuition. If you're reading something in a book and it doesn't fit with you, that's okay. It's just another perspective, and we're each on our own journeys. So embrace the messages that are really resonating with you, and then if they're not, it's okay. Let them be. They can have their perspective and you can have yours. So those are some ways to look at and approach building a magical practice, learning new resources, learning new spells, learning new perspectives, learning new spiritual paths. There's a lot of different spiritual paths even under the umbrella of paganism. You've got Wicca, you've got witchcraft, you've got traditional witchcraft, you've got green witchcraft. There's a whole different array of witchcrafts. There's eclectic witchcraft, which looks at and draws on multiple aspects of that. There's different sorts of reconstructionism of old spiritual systems. There's a lot of different ways to approach spirituality. So if you're starting out as a solitary witch or continuing at any point in your journey on solitary spiritual witchcraft, then open yourself up to connecting with these different approaches, these different resources, as a way to continue to connect and learn and build your magical practice. So if you have any questions about any of that, please feel free to join and pop your messages, your questions in the comments section below. I always enjoy reading your comments, and I wish you such a most wonderful day and very many blessings.